Visions of William Branham. Objections overruled. This video is purposely intended to refute all allegations, false claims, and malicious insinuations made by the website Believe the Sign. The Brown Bear Vision. This is a video response to Believe the Sign.
In May 1961, on a hunting trip in northern British Columbia, William Branham shot a silver-tipped grizzly bear, which he stated he had prophesied in advance, although this prophecy was not recorded on tape.
He is implying here that the grizzly bear vision of William Branham is after the fact, because it was only mentioned on tape first time after he shot the bear. But this is simply a false and misleading statement. William Branham, when he had the vision of the grizzly bear, he already told most of his church members before it came to pass. What the narrator intentionally do not want to understand is that William Branham is not under obligation to have all his visions recorded first, before it come to pass. God never told him to do that.
About 2 months ago, or hardly that long, woke up one morning. I'm not sure, I told it to most of the church. There's many here who heard me tell this before it come to pass. And in a vision I saw that I saw a great animal look like a deer. And it had great high horns. And I had to go around a side shale like this to get to it. And it was a very famous animal. It was a great trophy animal. And there was a man that I saw that had on a green checkered shirt. And then on the road, after I got the animal, I heard a voice say that those horns are 42 inches high. That's about this high. And it was a mammoth animal. And on the road back, I saw a great, huge, silver-tipped grizzly bear. Now that's the famous bear. There's 4 in the grizzly family. One is the silver-tip, which is the famous. Next is called a native named Kadish, which is a black with a round ear. The third is a regular grizzly, which is between black and brown, a huge bear. And the next is a Kodiak, which is only found on Kodiak Island and western Alaska. He's great mammoth, biggest of all bears, but he's a grizzly. But the silver tip is black, and the white is on the silver is on the end of the tip of the hair. He's the famous and very high-strung, ill-tempered bear.
The following year, in 1962, he tells of a vision in which he's going to shoot a brown bear that is even larger than the grizzly he shot.
Many of you remember the vision that I had where I had shot the grizzly bear, 9-foot grizzly bear, and your church remembers me telling it here, and the caribou. I had another remembrance on tape here. I've seen a great, huge brown bear. Yeah. That might be a Kodiak, and it wouldn't have worked down there in Canada because they're not there, you see. But wherever it will be, it'll be. It will be. That's thus saith the Lord. Yeah. It will be.
While William Branham did go hunting a number of times after he told this vision, he did not shoot the large brown bear that he spoke of.
He may not have shot the bear, but it doesn't mean the vision was a failure. This is simply a misunderstanding of the vision.
Those that went hunting with him have admitted that this vision was never fulfilled.
Those hunting with him got it wrong.
Now, some have excused the failure of this vision as being directly related to William Branham's disobedience to God. His disobedience prevented the vision from being fulfilled. In fact, one minister quotes William Branham as having said that it was only the second time I know that I disobeyed a vision. By this statement, this minister attempts to excuse William Branham's failed prophecy.
We believe the brown bear vision was not a failure for reason that William Branham never said it was. What believers and critics failed to notice is both bear visions of William Branham did not say about having to shoot them. But since he is a hunter, he would always assume he had to shoot it, just like in the case of the grizzly bear. Only because God allowed it. But in the case of the brown bear, he was not allowed to shoot it at the moment of its fulfillment. It was for his eyes only. So the vision was not a failure. But this would raise a question. Why Brother Branham, if indeed that is the case, never mentioned anything about it? This is what he says.
Now, my subject this morning, I trust that God will reveal this. And each time, if you who take the tapes and listen, and I hope and trust that you have had a spiritual understanding of what that God has been trying to get over to the church without saying it right out. See? It's things sometimes we have to say things in such a way that it might thin down. It might bring some to go out, some to leave, and some to ponder over. But that's done purposely. It must be done that way. Then it might be that some would say, you mean God would purposely do a thing like that? He certainly did. Amen. He does yet. Yeah. He said one day when he had thousands around him, he said, except you eat of the flesh of the Son of God, the Son of Man, and drink His blood, you have no life in you. What kind of a statement do you think that a medical doctor or a nurse or any fine intellectual person would think of a statement like that for a man that had a ministry like he had? Why, he would say, eat the flesh, that's cannibal. To drink human blood, it's a vampire. In other words, he wants us to be cannibals and vampires. And the whole audience walked away from him.
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 3 to 4.
But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them.
There is always a difference, when you say you don't believe it and when you say it didn't happen at all. Everybody can believe anything and we have no argument on that, especially if you don't believe the bare vision ever happened at all. But when you say it didn't happen at all, it only means that you are absolutely sure it did not. Then the burden of proof will be on your hands. You have to show evidence that it didn't happen at all. So for those who do not believe it happened, it is just perfectly fine. Though we cannot produce evidence that it happened also, but we believe it did. We only believe. But if you really are sure with absolute certainty that the bare vision was a failure, then you have to show evidence that it was a failure indeed.